thanks for watching my video. I know it's long overdue. My goal at getting this video put together got thrown off by many challenges such as my computer crashing out on me multiple times and life in general. So many apologies to those of you hoping for me to drop this video. I've sped the process up because we all know how long drawing can really take. So what I'm going to do is break it down to my best abilities. I'm not going to tell you how to draw, I'm just showing you what works for me. I don't always do this, but I believe that for beginners, it's more difficult to grasp the concept of proportion and look at things more visually. So using a proportion divider is something I recommend because it is useful as an exercise to see things on a scale rather than just shapes themselves. Seeing things as shapes is still important, but right now you just want to get the right proportions. What I'm doing here is taking measurements of between each point of the face and spaces within the face that meet the eyebrows, eyes, mouth, nose, and actually I have kind of a hard time with saying these names because one thing I want to stress is not thinking about them as noses, eyes, lips, but thinking of them as value shapes. Some of you might ask, well, Candace, what in the heck is a value shape? And that, my friend, is when I tell you to think in terms of black and white. Very few things are actually black and white, but what I want you to imagine is seeing in shapes from a scale of 1 being the lightest and 10 being the darkest, and anything from a 8 automatically becomes a 10, and anything below a 2 or a 3 becomes a 1. These concepts will make drawing much easier. I know that I said that I don't always use a proportion divider, and there's a reason for that. I don't think that we should be using a proportion divider for everything that we are drawing or composing, and the reason is because it's a tool. It's not something that we should rely on. I think it's wonderful and I think it can help us build skill, but I think that we should use a skill that we already have. And the only way that we can do that is by being consistent and constantly working on a better way to improve and working towards the accuracy that you want. I'm not saying don't use it, but I am saying don't use it for everything. It's a tool, not a replacement. Something that I believe has value to knowing is trying to remember to stay as loose as possible. It's easier said than done because when we're working, we want to work tighter and tighter and tighter, and you kind of have to pull yourself away from that. You kind of have to remind yourself not to jump into detail. And I mean, I do that all the time. I'm constantly erasing what I'm doing because I look at something and I think, ooh, I want to do that better. I want to do that again and again. But you kind of have to pull yourself away from it and not think about it so much, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. And you can see that I'm erasing what I'm doing. I realized that I got too tight in my work and I'm trying to get the right proportions because this is really the foundation that I'm building on. I know that if I don't get these lines right, then I'm just going to totally screw up the whole thing. I'm going to want to throw it away. I'm going to be upset, and I've gone through this time and time again. This has been common throughout my paintings and throughout my drawings, etc. It's frustrating. It is so annoying. You just want to throw it off your balcony when you don't get the right proportions. And you might not like what I'm about to say, but I believe this is true. I believe that you should always get the opinion from the opposite gender. And the reason why I say this is because men and women are better at different things. Women are better at the way that things feel. How does the painting feel? How does the drawing feel? Men are better at perspective. And usually the first thing that a man will say when he looks at your drawing is the perspective is off. What I am doing here is I am smudging the graphite all over what I'm working with. I find it actually really helpful to work from darkest to light. So you're putting in the tone and then subtracting, creating the illusion that there are highlights and midtones and lowlights, if you will. Now, looking back at what I've done in these videos, I can fully attest and acknowledge that I am not a professional by any means, but if I were to do things differently, I would have taken my advice and gone a little bit more general and gotten the big idea. I know that that's what I was shooting for, but you give and you take, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? So we've stepped it up a notch and we've taken more from the original darker values that I placed before and kind of heightened the contrast a bit. Et voila, here is the final composition that I have made. Just want to give a big thank you for sticking around and watching my process. Until next time.